What if I told you your brain is lying to you right now? Every color you see, every sound you hear, every memory you hold could be completely fake. You think you're living in the real world? No. You're trapped inside your brain's own simulation. This is Carl, and today we'll uncover the terrifying truth behind one sentence. Your brain is lying to you every second. We tend to think of our brains as high-fidelity cameras, passively recording the world with perfect accuracy. But this is a profound misunderstanding. Your brain isn't a camera. It doesn't record reality. It's far more creative and far more deceptive than that. It's an artist, a storyteller, a master illusionist. And it operates on a simple yet unsettling principle. It doesn't show you what's there. It shows you what it should be there. It actively creates your reality, every single millisecond of every day. The vibrant colors, the distinct sounds, the solid feel of the ground beneath your feet. None of it is a direct transmission from the outside world. It's a simulation, a meticulously crafted story, generated inside the silent, dark confines of your skull. The world you see isn't raw data. It's your brain's best guess of what's around you. Think of it like a detective arriving at a crime scene. It gets fragmented clues, patches of light, vibrations in the air, chemical signals. It doesn't see the whole picture. Instead, it draws on decades of prior experience, on every book it's ever read and every case it's ever solved, to construct the most probable story of what happened. Your brain does the exact same thing, but millions of times per second. In fact, neuroscientists have a powerful name for this theory: predictive processing, or the predictive brain. This framework turns our classic understanding of perception on its head. We used to think information flowed one way, from the world, through our senses, and into our brain to be processed. But the predictive model shows that the vast majority of brain traffic flows in the opposite direction. Your brain constantly predicts what it expects to see, hear, and feel, and then fills in the blanks. It's a constant loop. First, your brain generates a prediction. I expect to see my coffee cup on the desk. Then, it samples a tiny bit of sensory data from your eyes. If the data matches the prediction, great. The prediction becomes your reality. You see the cup. But if there's a mismatch, a prediction error, say, the cup was moved, an alert signal is sent back up. The brain then updates its internal model and generates a new prediction. It only pays attention to what it gets wrong. The rest is just a controlled hallucination. Let's try a quick experiment. Close your right eye. Now focus your left eye on the cross you see on screen. Slowly move your head closer to or further from the screen. At a certain distance, the dot on the right will completely disappear. It has fallen into your optic nerve's blind spot, a place where you have no photoreceptors. But do you see a black hole? No. Your brain, hating a vacuum, seamlessly fills in the gap with the surrounding background. It predicts what be there and shows you that instead. You are constantly looking at the world through a hole, and you never even notice. Your brain is lying to you for your own convenience. This predictive mechanism is why you experience phantom phenomena. Your brain, conditioned by habit, strongly predicts an incoming notification. It's so confident in this prediction that it generates the experience for you. That's why sometimes you see your phone light up when it didn't. You might even feel a phantom vibration in your pocket. The prediction was so strong it overrode the actual sensory data, or lack thereof. The same process applies to hearing. Think about being home alone, or walking down a quiet street at night. Your brain's threat detection system is on high alert. It predicts potential sounds, a footstep, a voice. This prediction primes your auditory cortex. So when a random creak of the floorboards or a gust of wind occurs, your brain might misinterpret that ambiguous noise as the thing it was expecting. That's when you hear someone call your name, when no one did. That's not your imagination. It's your brain's predictive engine running on overdrive. It's a feature, not a bug, designed to keep you safe and help you react quickly in an uncertain world. But it comes at a cost. The world you experience is not the real world. It's a personalized, edited, and often fictionalized version, curated by your internal model. This system is efficient, but it is not infallible. It makes mistakes. It takes shortcuts. It prioritizes what is probable over what is true. And in doing so, it constructs a reality that is useful, but not objective. Every sight, every sound, every sensation is a guess. And sometimes, those guesses are wrong. In a very real sense, that's your brain lying to you. Remember the dress, blue and black or white and gold? It's a perfect example. Everyone saw something different, but the image never changed. The difference? Your brain's assumptions about lighting tricked you into seeing different colors. That means, technically, you never see the world directly. You see what your brain thinks it should be. Even the color red isn't really red. It's just how your brain interprets a wavelength. Reality is just your brain's version of it. If you thought the illusions of sight and sound were unsettling, prepare for something far more personal, far more profound. Because the deceptions don't just happen outside of you. They are woven into the very fabric of who you are. And it gets creepier. Your brain, the supposed vault of your identity, doesn't even remember things accurately. We tend to think of memory as a perfect recording, a high-fidelity video file stored securely in our minds. We imagine that recalling a moment is like pressing play, rewatching an event exactly as it happened. But this is perhaps the most pervasive illusion of all. The truth is, your memory is not a video camera. It's a storyteller, and every storyteller embellishes. Every time you recall a memory, your brain doesn't just retrieve it, it actively reconstructs it. Think of it like rebuilding a structure from a pile of bricks. The core components, the essential facts, might be there. But each time you rebuild, you might use a slightly different mortar, place a brick in a new spot, or fill a gap with a piece that wasn't part of the original design. This process is called memory reconsolidation. When a memory is brought into your conscious mind, it becomes fragile, malleable. In this state, it can be updated with new information, new emotions, and even pure imagination. Your brain then resaves this altered version as the new, official memory, mixing real details with imagination. The original memory is overwritten. It's gone. All you have is the latest edit. This isn't a flaw in the system. From an evolutionary perspective, it's a feature. It allows us to learn and adapt, updating old information with new, more relevant knowledge. But a side effect is that our personal history is in a constant state of flux, edited by a director who prioritizes a good story over the literal truth. That funny story from your childhood, the one your family has retold at every gathering for years? Think about it. Is your memory of the event truly your own? Or is it a composite blended with your uncle's exaggerated retelling, your mother's emotional reaction, and the laughter of your cousins? After years of this collaborative storytelling, the original event is buried under layers of revision. Half of it might never have happened the way you remember it, or at all. This malleability of memory has been demonstrated time and again in controlled studies. The pioneering work of cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus revealed just how susceptible we are to what she termed the misinformation effect. In one classic experiment, participants were shown a video of a car accident. Later, they were asked questions about it. One group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? Another group was asked the same question, but with the verb smashed instead of hit. The group that heard the word smashed not only estimated the car's speeds as significantly higher, but a week later, They were more than twice as likely to falsely remember seeing broken glass in the video, glass that was never there. A single suggestive word was enough to infiltrate their memory and create a detail from pure fiction. This shows that our memories aren't just vulnerable to our own imagination, but to the suggestions of others. An offhand comment, a leading question, a news report, all can act as seeds of misinformation, growing into false memories that feel completely authentic. When this phenomenon happens on a massive scale, it can lead to one of the strangest quirks of collective consciousness. Psychologists call this the Mandela effect. The term was coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome when she discovered that she, and many others, shared a distinct memory of South African leader Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. But he didn't. He was released in 1990 and passed away in 2013. Yet, for thousands of people, the memory of his early death is vivid and certain. This is just one example. Thousands of people remember things that never existed. They remember the beloved children's book series as the Berenstain Bears, with an E. It has always been Berenstain, with an A. They remember the famous line from Star Wars as, "Luke, I am your father." The actual line is, "No, I am your father." They swear the Monopoly man wears a monocle. He never has. They remember the household air freshener being spelled Febreze with 2 E's. It's Febreze with 1. All of these memories are demonstrably wrong, but the brain insists they're right. The feeling of certainty is overwhelming. This isn't just a simple mistake. It's a deeply felt, emotionally resonant memory that is shared by a vast community of people, none of whom can explain how they all came to remember the exact same false detail. The effect is a powerful, large-scale demonstration of memory's fallibility. It shows how cultural schemas, common assumptions, and the simple viral spread of misinformation can construct a shared reality that is entirely false, yet feels undeniably true. So why does this happen? Why do we cling to these false narratives, both personal and collective? You trust your memories. They are the pillars of your identity, the foundation of your life's story. They inform your decisions, shape your relationships, and define your sense of self. To question them is to question the very core of who you are. And the brain is fiercely protective of that core. But your brain doesn't care about truth. It cares about comfort. It prioritizes a coherent, stable, and emotionally satisfying narrative over a factually accurate one. A memory that makes you feel good, that reinforces your worldview, or that fits neatly into the story you tell about yourself is more valuable to your brain's sense of stability than a messy, contradictory, and uncomfortable truth. Your memories aren't a record of your past. They are a story your brain tells itself about your past. And in that story, your brain is the author, the editor, and the audience, constantly revising the script to ensure a satisfying ending, regardless of the facts. Emotions? Same trick. Ever felt scared after watching a horror movie, even though you knew it's fake? That's your brain reacting as if the danger were real. It can't always tell imagination from reality. That's why fear, love, anger, all can be triggered by thoughts alone. The truth? Your brain lies to keep you safe, not right. It bends reality to protect your feelings. What if the vibrant, solid world you see, hear, and feel isn't a direct window to reality? What if it's a story, meticulously crafted second by second inside your own mind? Some scientists now believe we don't live in reality at all. We live inside the brain's internal simulation of it. This isn't a philosophical riddle. It's a revolutionary theory of neuroscience that reframes everything we know about perception. It suggests that your brain isn't a passive receiver of information from the outside world. Instead, it's an active and tireless predictor, constantly guessing what's out there. The world bombards our senses with an overwhelming flood of raw, chaotic data. Light waves, pressure changes, chemical signals. It would be impossibly slow and inefficient for the brain to process all of this from scratch in real time. So it takes a radical shortcut. Based on a lifetime of experience, it builds a model of the world and runs a continuous simulation. It makes a constant stream of best guesses about the causes of the sensory signals it's about to receive. This is the predictive brain in action. It's not asking, "What am I sensing?" It's asking, "What's the most likely thing in the world that would cause these sensations I'm expecting to sense?" Neuroscientist and leading proponent of this theory, Anil Seth, gives this process a provocative name. He calls our conscious perception a controlled hallucination. This isn't to say that nothing is real. The world outside your mind exists, but your experience of it is a construct, a hallucination that is constantly reined in and disciplined by sensory data from that world. Your reality is a negotiation between the brain's expectations and the signals it receives from the environment. It's a delicate and continuous dance between what your brain believes is there and what is actually there. Every second, your brain compares its predictions to the incoming data from your senses. This is the core of the predictive coding loop. Think of it like this. The brain sends its predictions down to lower-level sensory areas. These areas then compare the prediction to the actual sensory input. If they match, everything is fine. The prediction was correct, and your perception feels stable and real. But what happens when they don't match? What happens when the world surprises you? When there's a mismatch, a prediction error signal is generated. This is the crucial part. This error signal is the only thing that travels back up the processing hierarchy. It's a message that says, "Hey, your guess was wrong. Yes, something unexpected happened." The brain then has two choices. It can either update its model of the world to create a better prediction next time, which is how we learn. Or, if the error is small enough, it can do something even more astonishing. It can edit what you see to match what it expects. If your brain is highly confident in its prediction, it might simply dismiss the conflicting sensory data as noise. It will overwrite the error and present you with a perception that aligns with its belief, not with reality. You perceive what your brain believes, not what your eyes are strictly telling it. This is why we can miss obvious changes in our environment, or why optical illusions work so effectively. They are designed to exploit the gap between the brain's predictions and the raw sensory truth. The power of this internal simulation is immense. Consider this thought experiment. If the world and all its sensory input were to suddenly vanish, what would you experience? You wouldn't instantly perceive a black, silent void. For a brief, disorienting moment, your brain's predictive model would keep running on its own momentum. You'd still see the room around you, hear the ambient hum. You would continue to experience your simulated reality. This is because your perception is generated from the top down, from the prediction. It's only when the sensory systems fail to report back, when the prediction errors scream that there is a total absence of data, that your brain would realize the feed was gone. Only then would the hallucination collapse. That's how powerful the illusion is. It's not a fragile overlay on top of reality. It's your reality. This entire framework turns the classical view of perception on its head. We used to think of the brain as a detective, gathering clues from the senses to solve the puzzle of the outside world. But the predictive coding model paints the brain as a fantasist, or a sci-fi author, constantly writing a story about the world and using the senses merely to proofread and make minor edits. This means you're not just a passive mind watching a movie of reality. You are an active participant in its creation. Your beliefs, your memories, and your expectations are not just filters. They are the very building blocks of every sight, sound, and feeling you experience. You're not just a mind watching reality, you're a mind creating it. Every moment of your conscious life is an act of profound, unconscious artistry, painting a world into existence from the inside out. If everything we see, remember, and feel is filtered, then what's real? Science suggests there might be no raw truth, only interpretations shaped by evolution. Your brain evolved to help you survive, not to show you the universe as it really is. That's why we can't see UV light or feel magnetic fields, even though birds can. Reality is bigger than our senses, and we only get a pixelated version. So next time you look around, remember, this isn't the world. It's your brain's painting of it. You're living inside a biological illusion, one that's convincing enough to make you believe it's real. This is Carl from Quantum Queasy, where science meets mystery. Subscribe before your brain changes its mind again.